It's amazing that when I offer you eternity, many of you look at it as some sort of sacrifice. Well, look at all the lovely things I'm going to have to give up.
I would like to suggest there is another very plausible interpretation for our being unable to see it. That is, that it's virtually incomprehensible.
No, it's totally incomprehensible.
Well, it is a very, very difficult to understand for most mortals.
Mortals aren't real, though.
A tremendous amount of repetition.
More than that, sir, it's impossible for mortals to understand eternity. That's why they're mortal. How many times am I going to have to do it for you? I just keep doing the same thing over for you. Mortality is what time is. Time is constructed not to be eternal. How could it understand it? You're right on. You can make it very difficult, but the idea that it's difficult to come to wholeness is crazy in my mind, not in yours, because you want to construct difficulties in being whole. But why would it be difficult to be everything? Respond.
Difficult to be everything?
Yeah. That's what you are. Why is that difficult?
My experience is I'm one thing at a time.
I know. That's why it's difficult for you to be everything. But if you're one thing at a time, you're going to hold yourself in time and suffer the consequences of what you call a conceptual time association. Do you have the power to do that? It's not whether it's good or bad. You're the one that's going to have to look at what? Your determination to hold on to it. Is it valuable for him to do this? Sure. He's a shell. I put him in there to ask these questions. You know that that's true? Oh, you know that already. It's a big con game. See, I have to stimulate some sort of response in the conflict that you're feeling. Otherwise, you won't deal with it. That's what I do. But remember that I'll always stay with the constancy, and you will always stay with your determination to die, okay? That's what makes our dialogue finally possible, and I'll call it dialogue in this sense. Because if it's necessary for you to have the atonement or the at-one-ment of your mind, this is what you will be. Remember, though, that you are the denial of your own perfection. This is what I told you this morning. You actually think you have a choice in this matter because your reality is based on choice, which is what sequential time is, isn't it? Choosing between things. Do you have a choice really? If you ask the question, do I have a choice, you must have one. But remember this, if you brought your cause and effect together, you could only have one choice, and that's to see that this is not so and that God is. That's the Course in Miracles. And at each moment that you're tempted to give credence to your associations, you look at the outcome of that purpose, you step back from it, and you stop doing it. Each time you step back from that limited association, you save yourself time because you're not tracking off into another direction, are you? Your way becomes like a razor's edge. Okay, Jesus calls this temptation. Oh, come on and do that with us. This is in the movie, The Last Temptation of Christ, lovely, where the cross turns sideways and the little lovely thing comes up and says, hey, it's all over. You paid your dues. Now you can come and be human. Now you can come and have a family and you can do. He says, oh, did I really do it? He says, oh yeah, God would want you to come and be human here and share these things with us. That's what? That's your last temptation. The last bastion of your defense is human love. That's a sentence from the Course. Why? We can't take love away from you. We can only ask you to look at what you're doing with your own creations. Okay? I'm going to give you your love, and I'm going to ask you, why do the things that you love suffer pain and death? And you're going to tell me there's nothing I can do about it, and I'm going to say, why? That's not love then. What you're going to share is not being able to do anything about it, aren't you? Okay, you guys get familiar to me. Well, did we come into this mess together? Yeah. You were the navigator. In fact, you're responsible for the whole screw-up. I didn't give you that mess. I gave you, see? Isn't that funny? It's a little bit like there was a spot on the white linen tablecloth, and you quick tried to blot it out. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And just kept spreading more and more. Huh? You didn't hear the alley alley oxen free. And you came back in, and Jesus says you forgot to laugh. Remember that in the Course? I mean, suddenly it got real serious, see? We were fooling around with the moon maidens. No, that's another one. We landed on this planet. See, this can be anything that you want it to be. All I want to assure you of is that you're living in a time illusion. You must finally see that this is an amnesty bill. That you've been doing jungle warfare, but you've only been combating yourself. There is no battle going on. This is the key to salvation. Okay? The conflict is only in your own associations. Everybody hear that? Then don't be conflictual. Okay? Truth and love is all around you while you sleep. Okay? Well, how am I getting through to you? I'm pounding on your shell. I'm going, It's like you're down deep and we're hitting a pipe and you can hear this. What's that? You go, I wish I could explain to you what happened when we lost communication with you. The reason why this is so difficult is, I can't explain. See, at the time of the schism, there was a displacement that is taking longer to repair because what's happening is you're coming up, we've moved there was a particular refraction that occurred in this association, and a lot of you for the last 40,000 years have been coming up to a particular spot and you bump against it and it's not there. It's off just a phase off to the left. No. If you hold on to an identity of that association with me, all right, the image will be dim, won't it? For just a second you might see that, all right? Then what'll happen, that's fearful to you because it gets too bright and you're unable to correspond it with your right brain. You still have some drama that's playing out that makes you fearful of that revealing. This is the necessity for the holy instant. Why? Because you're very much afraid of finally removing that veil. Was it removed this morning? Yeah. Let me see where you are here. The necessity for this is for you not to think in this association, we're not doing meditation, but to release up to this. Okay? What happens when you do that happened to you at lunch. Your reassociation with the other consciousness is dramatically different, and it can be very dramatically different. You formulated this rather than this. This will never work. Okay, you try to make holy relationships out of your special relationship. You can't. You've designed them to keep them apart. Okay, the only way you can do it is common goal. But see how easy it is with common goal. How easy you can have a perfect love relationship here if you'll admit to an absolute common determination to do this. What does that require? That you include everything that you do in with that goal. Is that what these awakened consciousnesses have done that are coming on? Oh yeah. They have no conflict with each other at all. At least it doesn't last more than a second. And that will always be in regard to what the best thing to do to bring this about is. There's no conflict in what we know is so. And the idea that you could actually share in this whole goal is an incredible feeling of ecstasy and happiness beyond anything that you've ever thought. You have never, ever been willing to make a complete commitment to anything. Because perceptual mind literally cannot do it. It'll always hold in reserve what? The idea that it can choose to do it or not. You have no choice in this matter. Everybody hear me? You have no choice but to awaken. Okay. You have no choice but to awaken now. You have made a decision within this time association to hear this. Okay? There's no sense in denying it. When you go back and read the things that I'm saying now, they'll stare right out to you from the Course. You'll go, oh yeah, that's what he said. Oh yeah. Well, you can see it differently. Rather than covering those real emphatic statements, you begin to say, hey, this is what this says, and this is what I'm doing. Is this the way out for you? Yeah. Are you going to choose to come out now, or are you going to choose to get sick and die again? Okay. Well, then follow me, I'll take you out. Now you say, well, what qualifies you to be able to do that? And I say to you, I have no qualifications at all. Well, you say, well, how do I know you're the Savior then? And I say, because I have no qualifications. Some of you really heard that. I'm totally unqualified to do this. That's why you picked me. Somewhere you had to know there were no qualifications for this. Was my awakening spontaneous? All awakenings are spontaneous. Can you hear it? When it happens to you, it's always a complete surprise. A lot of you are experiencing these holy instances, and they're always a complete surprise to you. And when you go back and try and define them to somebody, they go, oh yeah, but they don't, that's not what it is. For crying out loud, I'm teaching you to the experience. Well, have it. If you can put it into a frame of reference, it has to be in the limited perceptual relationship of what you identify as atonement. I'm astonished by what you guys classify as master teachers. It isn't that they're not true, it's that you deny them. All teachers are true. Can't teach that, can I? An unhealed mind will give you qualifications for what constitutes your awakening. If I do that, you be sure and tell me. If I tell you that there are qualifications for you to do this, you tell me. Except your own little willingness to do it. Obviously, you have to see you have the problem, but that's the qualification. The more you see you have the problem, the more the solution will be there. And when the problem becomes total to you and not solvable, that's what salvation is. Not something else. Not where you solve the problem and then recognize salvation. You listen to me, you ought to start hearing this. The solution is in the relinquishment, not in the determination of the relinquishment. This problem cannot be solved. The recognition of that is what solves the problem. No other way. Jesus teaches this again and again and again. So all he really says is, the problem's not real. Somehow you want to solve it. And I can't take it away from you. Why? Because you've always solved it. And you've always solved it in the manner in which you thought was best for you to solve it. Wouldn't you do that reasonably? Isn't it necessary that I eat? Isn't it necessary that I pay the rent? Okay? Yet if you do lesson 76, it'll say, no, none of those things are necessary, and that's what's keeping you here. And you say, well, that's why nobody does the course. And I'll say, that's right. Well, you say, well, nobody here does that, right? That's right. They all live within the framework of their associate bodies. I don't know what they think of another trillion stars and 3,000 million other consciousnesses here. They're constituted so little that there's really no breadth in the expansion of their own mind. I belabor it. Now, when you're ready to hear this, you will hear it because you already did. Okay? Be sure you have this. It's impossible that anything that is happening to you has not already happened. Okay? There is nothing that you're going to do that is not a part of this whole plan. Okay? You don't do anything accidentally in that sense. You can't. Because all you've ever really wanted is happiness. And since that's all you can really be, you must be that. And you will search for it, and that's why you're here. Okay? You're searching for love and peace and happiness. And I'm telling you that you can't find it where you're looking. But yet it's all around you.